Georges to the first Chiefs Financial Podcast for July 2018 with George Botros and myself, Chuck McKittrick. George,
Yes, Chuck, yes.
what does BizNIT stand for again? I mean, Chief.
Chiefs. Chiefs. C. Champions for the masses. H. We are happening. I.
Irrepressible.
Expendable.
Hey, get out of there. Jeez, how many times do I have to get rid of you, for heaven's sakes?
Financial Fools, FF. We'd love to hear from you guys on what we can talk about that would help you make better investment choices. Because that's our mission. We want to help Canadians make better investment choices and understand their world a little bit better. So, George, you brought up earlier with me that we have an upcoming event with the Bank of Canada is looking at whether it's going to raise or lower its interest rates.
I think, unfortunately, lowering the interest rates is probably off the table. The consensus belief is that interest rates are going to rise by a quarter point.
Why?
Inflationary pressures. There's a belief that the interest rates have been so low for so long that they need to come up. I don't necessarily agree with that, quite frankly. But this is the first time, though, that one economist, I believe it was the National Bank economist, that came out and said, how in the world are you actually going to raise interest rates in this time where we don't even know what the tariffs are going to look like? So I'm with him.
I think that our tribe needs to have a better understanding of how interest rates work because it's very complicated.
Oh, absolutely.
So I put together a little object lesson for us to review.
I'm scared and delighted.
Now, many people don't know that George, all right, we have the scribe, desperate to keep his job, has made us a lovely summer drink this afternoon.
Yes.
It's kind of a cross between a mojito and a spritzer, isn't it, or something like that.
No.
So we have interest rates. This is the Canadian economy. And this is all the factors that affect the Canadian economy. So let's say the Canadian economy is doing just okay. It's neither full nor empty. It's neither thriving or in depression. So then there's a whole bunch of junk that affects how the Bank of Canada chooses to raise or lower the rate. George, give me a reason they would want to increase the rate.
Inflation.
So
Number
there's
one
more
reason.
inflation.
There's more inflation.
So they put a little more juice in there, and they think if we increase the rate, we will what to inflation?
Well, we're going to try to decrease inflation. We're going to increase the cost of borrowing money. We're going to increase the cost that everybody has to purchase things that are not. If they don't have the money in the bank account, it raises the cost of capital, is what it does.
And so, what would be a factor that would make the Bank of Canada want to reduce interest rates?
Well, if they believe that people are keeping the money in their bank accounts, if they're not spending enough, if inflation does not exist, if they want to, the monetary stimulus in the economy, they're going to decrease the interest rate.
All right.
As opposed to going back into the jug, I guess.
Oh, right. I could have done that.
Yes, you could have done that. Anyway.
Far more dramatic, though,
Yeah,
wasn't
clearly, absolutely.
it? Okay. So now at this time we have, what's our guy's name that's doing this?
Polos.
Polos. Mr. Polos is determining whether we're going to raise or lower rates.
Yes,
But
exactly.
he's only been raising it because the rates have been so low for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And so now him and Trudeau felt the economy was actually getting some traction until recently when...
Well, when the tariffs are starting to hit everything.
That's right. And we've got NAFTA up in smoke or not, we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's like, should I? I don't know. Maybe. So some of the economists are like, you think you should? No, I don't know. So we think that they are...
We think they're going to increase the rates, unfortunately, very prematurely.
That's right.
I think they might, if they do that and these tariffs come in, I think we might be spilling a heck of a lot more water out. Way more water than they even put in.
See, that's not as dramatic.
Nah, not as dramatic.
So like pipeline issues, cod stocks, lumber pricing, all plays into whether rates are going up or
yeah,
down.
absolutely. I mean, the big one is all about the inflation rate, but the other thing that you also have to think about is the exchange rate. The one thing people have to
That's
understand is that to buy Canadian goods, to make Canadian investments, you have to do that with Canadian dollars. So when you're basically increasing the cost of the Canadian dollar, or I should say when you're increasing interest rates, people are going to start investing, buying whatever Canadian securities or Canadian bonds or whatever that might be. You're actually increasing the cost of the Canadian dollar. There's a detriment to that because all of a sudden exporters are going to say, well, you know what? Instead of buying the Canadian good that's a little more expensive, I might go out and buy a different good from a different country that's less expensive. So, Paul Laws, smarten up.
Okay, so now we've covered off interest rates and you have a better understanding of the complexity. It is one of the most complex variables in the Canadian economy. And the Canadian economy used to raise and lower on how interest rates went, but not so much anymore because there's so many other conflicting factors, some of which George already described. So then last time we had our blog, we discussed some of the ways that the downtrodden, aka the Canadian masses, can invest for their own betterment.
Yes.
And we're going to pick one right now. So if you have excess cash flow, George, what is an easy way for people to invest safely and securely?
Well, one of the things we suggest is fixed income products.
That's right.
You
know
know
any?
Let me see. Let me give me a second.
Wait, first, you got to describe what fixed income means. What does fixed income mean? You hear it all the time.
Oh, excellent. Well, lots of times you hear about, all the stocks that trade on the stock exchanges, either the TSX, the NASDAQ, or whatever exchange you might think of. But fixed income securities are way more pronounced. There's way more fixed income securities and way more dollars that go into fixed income securities. GICs are a fixed income security. Anything that basically produces that income cash flow is a fixed income security outside of a dividend. It's got an interest rate, a rate of return
but the
like
fixed income means that the interest rate is pre-subscribed, that it's determined at the outset. Bonds, GICs, T-bills.
Yes, absolutely. Spitting
it's
out
not
the
vacillating up
Yeah,
and down.
for sure.
It's not speculating. Okay, so since we led into that one, let's discuss. Let's discuss what we do.
Yeah, excellent. Well, did we ever talk about mix?
We have.
We have. Okay. Well, what is a? Well, we've talked about mix. We know exactly what a MIC is. One of the things that we admire most about a MIC is the fact that it's backed by real estate, real security. The houses that people can go out and touch. We're lending to basically Canadians. Self-employed guys and girls, new Canadians, anybody that can't really, get a mortgage in the traditional fashion by going to the local credit union, financial institution, whatever it might be. We're providing mortgages for those individuals. In return, what they're basically paying is they're paying a bit of a higher interest rate, but we're taking that interest rate and we're actually giving it to our investors via an income product. Interest that is a little bit healthier than some of the products out there right now.
But it's been a very wonderful investment tool. Now it's a lightning round. Awesome. And this time I got tired of answering questions because I'm doing all the heavy lifting. George is kind of lightweight. So I am going to bring the scribe in. It's going to be George and the scribe versus me. Here is the scribe appropriately preparing, and our financial officer. Oh, super awesome. And here is the list. Okay, and it's very technical. The first question, are you guys ready?
Yes.
The first question is, why are avocado pits so big?
I will postulate that most...
Wrong. George.
I sold corn. You're talking to an experienced corn salesman.
Avocado.
So there used to be corn. Corn used to be like the size of wheat, but over hundreds of years,
Still wrong.
years of artificial selection, humans they grew up so like that. Avocados, they didn't undergo the same type of human interaction.
Now, it's because avocados are supposed to grow in the jungle, and they need to be 2 feet high before they get enough sunlight to survive, so they need to get enough energy from their pit. Next question. How hot is the sun in centigrades?
28,000.
The answer is...
6 degrees Celsius.
I don't know what the answer is. You got to put it on the screen. Okay, next one is calculator scribe versus non-calculator. Beep.
No.
Wait,
no. Not calculator George.
Whatever.
He's a calculator scribe.
Okay, good. Scribe. Well, I mean, his name is... Beep.
All right.
His name is Scribe.
Yes, scribe.
All right, the first question is 758 times 42.
I win.
31,836.
31,836.
Oh, how could I fit that? 42 times 750 is 31,500 and the 336. Yeah.
One for the scribe.
31,836.
Ready? Next one. The square root of 23.
The square root of 23 is 4.8.
4.8. Coco?
I didn't even find the button.
Okay, that's
4.7
one all.
Something.
4.79.
Okay, I rounded to 4.8. Come on.
I'm still getting it to you.
Oh, sorry.
Alright.
Yeah,
Last one for all the
I
money.
need to get more. I
This
can't
is-
believe we got the first one wrong, but he got the first one.
Okay, well you can redeem yourself
let's
right
go.
here.
Come on.
The last one is 1 divided by 18.
0.00555555555555.
You won again.
Thank you.
Your finger. It's quite embarrassing,
One
really.
more. Come on. I want to roll now.
Nope.
I
Here's another math question.
Ooh, interesting.
Yes.
I said no, but
How many offspring did Genghis Khan sire?
Oh. Awesome.
James knows the answer. Can't answer.
You know the answer?
Yeah,
Really?
because he's trying to get to that number in his
Only
lifetime.
goal in life.
Oh boy, that's gonna be a lot.
3,
of birthday parties.
2, 1.
181.
Between 1,000 and 2,000. Do you want to sign it off?
Okay. Well, biznitches.
That's another edition of the Chief Financial Podcast, the first one of the summer. I'm gonna try to, this guy that's still around here. I'm not sure what he's doing here.
No kidding.
Today we talked about the interest rates. We had a wonderful display of how about fiscal policy. Not fiscal, monetary policy. Actually, next week is something we should talk about: fiscal policy.
Great.
Yeah, something kind of complementary to monetary policy. We talked about excess cash flow. One place to put excess cash flow is in fixed income products. What else did we talk about? We figured out that I'm better at math in my head than my friend over here with a calculator. Surprise! Shocker! Spoiler alert! What else did we learn? I think we learned that Genghis Khan was, a bit promiscuous. What else did we learn? Scribe, what did we learn?
Rubbed it in my face again. Apparently I'm stuck in math. In all aspects.
It's a good thing you're good at this.
Yeah. We learned how hot the sun was.
All right. Thank you for joining us one more time. We take care. Business.